to write a bond for these people because you could almost count on their not coming back.
For those who couldn't afford the bond, as it is likely to cost at least $1,000, would then have to remain in detention. The bill will likely face stiff opposition in the Senate. However, the House Republican leadership is considering to attach the Real ID Act to the president's $80 billion request for Iraq and Afghanistan in an attempt to force the bill through. Mitch Jeserich, Free Speech Radio News.
Playwright Arthur Miller, a titan of American theater who wrote Death of a Salesman, has died. He was 89 years old. The playwright died of congenital heart failure last night at his home in Roxbury, Connecticut. Death of a Salesman, a tragedy whose central character, failed businessman Willie Loman, became an archetype for shattered dreams, is considered a 20th century classic. The play won Miller a Pulitzer Prize and a Tony Award at the age of 33. His other major works included All My Sons, A View from the Bridge, and The Crucible. The Crucible, about the 17th century Salem witch trials, was a metaphor for Senator Joseph McCarthy's Cold War hunt for communist sympathizers. Miller himself was called before the House Un-American Activities Committee in 1956 and was cited for contempt of Congress after he refused to name fellow left-wingers. The decision was overturned on appeal, and Miller remained an active political voice throughout his long career. Playwright Arthur Miller, dead at 89. Partly cloudy tomorrow in the San Francisco Bay Area with highs in the upper 50s to the mid-60s. In the central San Joaquin Valley tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs from 60 to 66 degrees. That's it for the news tonight on this Friday, February 11th. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to those of you who called in a pledge. We were able to make our match. Jade Padgett Seekins produced the recorded portions of this broadcast. She's also at the controls with Eileen Alfandary. I'm Mark Miracle. Good evening.
You're listening to 94.1 KPFA in Berkeley, 89.3 KPFB in Berkeley, 88.1 KCSF in Fresno. It is 7 o'clock. Stay tuned for Full Circle.
Full circle, yes, we rotate. Full circle, yes, we rotate. Full circle, yes, we rotate. 360 degrees, ha ha, 360 degrees, ha, 360 degrees, ha ha, 360 degrees, ha ha, ha ha, ha ha. Round and round. 360. Round and round, round we go. 360 degrees. Round and round, round we go. Don't you know that things go in cycles?
Welcome to Full Circle, your cultural and public affairs radio magazine.
Tonight on Full Circle, we feature The Rules of the Game, a documentary film that explores the Indian gaming controversy in California.
I knew right when I heard casino we were going to be in for a battle because it's not going to let you put up a casino. Not that easy. I'm looking at it like, yeah, let's do this. Just to show them people we could do this. And they can't tell us no anymore. That's how I feel about it.
And we'll hear excerpts from the film and talk with producers Monica Lam and Garance Burke.
We are currently in our winter fund drive. Call in your support for Full Circle anytime during the hour at 510-848-5732. That's 510-848-5732 or 1-800-439-5732. 1-800-439-5732. We are your hosts, Veronica and Miss Rain. Stay tuned.
Indian gaming on tribal land has become a significant political issue in the last decade. Since Proposition 1A was passed by California voters in 2000, there has been an increase in tribal casinos around the state. Many say that casinos degrade community values, while others argue that gaming brings jobs, money, and sovereignty to Native American communities.
The documentary film, The Rules of the Game, follows the conflict when an Indian tribe decides to build a casino in Rohnert Park, California. When the film came out 4 months ago, Kristen Zimmerman and Simin Yahagi spoke with Garance Burke and Monica Lam, which are the co-producers and co-directors of the film. Later in this show, Monica and Garance will join us again to update on the situation. But first, Monica starts by giving background on the film.
Our film, The Rules of the Game, is a half-hour documentary, and it takes place in the town of Roanoke Park in Sonoma County, not far from San Francisco, and it follows what happens when a Native American tribe called the Federated Indians of Great and Rancheria announce that they are going to establish a new reservation and build a casino on it. And the proposal to do that throws the town into major conflict, and suddenly everyone's got an opinion about what this tribe wants to do.
So we begin the film right in the middle of that controversy, inside the city council chambers, where everyone's yelling at each other. There's a lot of crosstalk going on. People are getting up to the mic and crying. And we begin to get a sense that Indian gaming is becoming something that everyone has a stake in or seems to have an opinion about.
How did you come to the story? How did you get interested in it?
We both were seeing the story unfold in the newspapers. There would be mentions that the tribe had been floating the proposal of building the casino originally a little further south, closer to Bay. That plan was scrapped, and then the controversy moved up into Roanoke Park. So we just thought it seemed to be a topic that a lot of people had something to say about, but few really knew what to think. And in fact, because so many issues are sort of entwined in the issue of Indian gaming, both raise questions of equity, the American dream, and who should be allowed to pursue it, we felt it would be a topic really worthy of a film that would give everyone something to think about.
What's interesting is, this is coming several years after Proposition 1A was passed, which was the state proposition to give Indian nations, sovereign rights to build casinos on their land. Can you remind us a little bit about what 1A is and then how that played out, in terms of the story? It was interesting because several of the characters actually talked about voting for 1A and then being surprised by what was happening in their town.
I remember Proposition 1A as one of the things that got me first interested in the whole topic of Indian gaming. It was a ballot proposition that was on the ballot in March of 2000, and essentially it amends the California Constitution to allow slot machines exclusively on Indian reservations. And it passed with a very large majority, around 60% in some counties, including the county where Roanoke Park is located. It essentially opened the door to major development of major casinos, Las Vegas-style casinos, as many people call them.
What does that mean, Las Vegas-style? Like what, as opposed to hometown-style? What does Las Vegas-style casino mean?
Well, currently you can have bingo rooms, card clubs, that sort of thing, or a very limited number of slot machines. Las Vegas style means, upwards of, about 1,000 slot machines. The proposal in Roanoke Park that we follow would be for 2,000 slot machines, which is a number that many Indian casinos in California have reached their limit at.
I think a lot of people associate Las Vegas with having pioneered the resort casino experience. It's a large building. It's got a lot of slot machines. It has card tables. Oftentimes there are restaurants. It's a place you go to where you can visit the bar and you can have fun and you can take your family and your friends. And that's what people think of when they think of Las Vegas style.
Some people who are in Roanoke Park who are non-native said, I voted for this legislation, but I didn't expect it to be in my town. And it seemed to be that some of the people were thinking about, reservations are somewhere else, or Native people are somewhere else. They're not in Roanoke Park. And what struck me was the invisibility of the Native community, and then how this issue, wound up really making the indigenous community, say in Roanoke Park, visible, and some of the controversy that came up around that. Can you talk a little bit about how that played out and how that you saw that unfolding?
Sure. I think that there's a lot of real division that many non-Native people have about the issue of Indian gaming, and that, perhaps with best intentions, they really wish that conditions would improve for Indian people in California. We're sort of looking to help tribes out, but just not in my backyard. So that's, in fact, what one of our characters says in the film. Tom Scott moved up to Rohnert Park to kind of get away from the hubbub of the city and was looking forward.
Back to the land movement, is that what he said? Yeah.
Exactly. So in the 70s, looking for a more pastoral existence in this town that used to be farmland, but now is increasingly encroached on by strip malls and car lubrication shops and any number of chain stores. And also, much to many residents' surprise, is Indian land. And so, many of the residents are just coming to realize this for the first time. I think for tribal members, the population of so many California tribes was reduced to such small numbers that some members had no idea of their own identity and grew up not really knowing that they were Coast Miwok.
So what was the reaction of natives about casino? Do they all accept it or some? For me, when I've heard that they're going to build a casino, I thought some rich natives are going to build in their own land casino. So describe a little bit about it.
Well, casinos are one of the few truly lucrative economic development opportunities that are available on Indian reservations, and that's one of the reasons why they've really taken off. Tribes are able to get startup capital from corporations who have a lot of expertise and experience in managing casinos, and in the case of the tribe that we follow, they're partnering with Station Casinos, which is a Las Vegas-based company that is going to provide them with millions of dollars to buy the land, develop the casino, and will also help them run it, since that's what they do best. Our film does not go into internal debates about whether or not the tribe wants to have a casino. The Federated Indians of Great and Rancheria have a democratic process within their tribal council and within their own tribe, and they vote upon decisions that the whole tribe makes. In this case, the tribe did look at a variety of different economic development opportunities. They looked at an organic dairy. They looked at maybe running a winery, since they are in wine country. And I think that they found that the casino proposal would be the most beneficial for the tribe.
You just heard the voice of Monica Lam. I'm Kristen, here with Samin, and you're listening to Full Circle. You were talking about how you mentioned that establishment of the reservation came alongside the announcement of building a casino. Can you give a little bit of background on that?
Sure. Well, the Coast Miwok and Southern Pomo have lived on the shores of Sonoma and Marin County for thousands of years. About 90% of Indian populations in California were decimated by settlers moving west, and many tribal members stayed in the area but were living in different plots of land. In the early part of last century, they got a right to have their own reservation. The Bureau of Indian Affairs finally said, okay, we're going to make a space for these, quote, homeless Indians. Mm-hmm. So then, as Chairman Greg Saris describes in the film, the reservation existed for several decades. Some people grew up on it, and then it was disbanded in 1959, and the tribe lost federal status to be recognized, and also lost their land. So it was a really lengthy process of people coming together, tracing their lineage, finding the birth certificates that proved their native heritage, and ultimately petitioning the federal Congress to restore their tribal status. And that happened in the year 2000. That was the same year that voters approved Proposition 1A, which gave this tribe and many others the right to build a casino.
How did you find your subjects, and how did you go about, deciding who you would follow?
Well, one of the first things that we did was hit the ground running, because the city council meetings were going on. It was crazy. We would go up, on the spur of the moment with a couple cameras, set up a shoot, and find these incredibly raw emotions being displayed in what would otherwise be a pretty mundane...
Pretty boring, probably.
I mean, they moved the city council meetings to, like, the biggest performing arts hall in Sonoma County, I think, right?
Yeah, it's a really fancy, big, seats probably 500,000 people.
And it was packed to the brim with people. So then after that, we decided, kind of took a step back and said, well, we want to be able to represent all of these people who are directly affected by gaming and have them tell us in their own voices what it means to them from whatever perspective they depart from. So we began talking to the tribe, began talking to local government officials, and also started, hanging out with people in the opposition who, for many different reasons, felt that this casino was the wrong answer.
There were a number of people who made themselves visible early on as community leaders. They organized groups, they put up websites, they came to all the city council meetings, they came to the county council meetings, and so we met with leaders of all of these different groups. And indeed, there were many different kinds of groups. There were groups that were more focused on environmental issues. There were groups more focused on the idea that gambling is bad. There were groups that were focused on development issues, that they just don't want more development in Sonoma County. And it was tough, actually, trying to sort out all the different arguments. There are so many of them. And I think that we, at some point, tried to pick a few that were representative of the spectrum, by no means the only arguments out there. So we talked with somebody who is essentially does not want to see more development, wants to preserve the environmental quality of the county. And we also speak with people who live in a mobile home park that will be immediately adjacent to the casino property, so the casino will be in their backyard, and to talk to them a little bit about what they thought were the issues. And they felt that traffic and potentially crime and lights and noise would be affecting their lives directly.
Like you brought up earlier, Monica, the tribe didn't necessarily have to ask for permission from the town, from the town council, but they did. And in some ways, some of this controversy came out through that process. What was your sense about how folks in the tribe wound up feeling about that? Making kind of a special effort to allocate some funds to the community and, do some different things of goodwill. So how they felt going through that process, that very public process, and then, where the rest of the town was left after going through this really public, emotional process.
You've brought up a lot of really great points. Gaming has brought tribes and the communities near the tribes into dialogue in a way that hasn't happened before. And what's pretty amazing, and what we record in our film, is that these are two governments trying to talk to each other. There's a tribe trying to offer an agreement with a town and to figure out how they can benefit the town, and can they build roads, and can they fund the schools, and how can this casino bring a lot of good things in addition to jobs to the town. Some people didn't feel that the tribe was trying to do something good, that they didn't see that the tribe was reaching out on their end.
Yeah, and I think that much of the controversy in Roanoke Park came down to whether the city and the tribe would be able to strike a deal. And there's $200 million at stake. It was a really pioneering step for the tribe to offer that big of a commitment to the local government where they want to build the casino, given that it's their ancestral territory.
And to come back to your question a little bit about how did it leave the town, some people were still so upset that the city of Roanoke Park decided to strike an agreement, to strike a deal with the tribe, that they tried to recall members of the city council.
It was right after the Governor Davis recall, so some plucky residents thought, well, if they can do it in Sacramento, why not here? So they went out to the malls, they went out to the shopping centers, they gathered signatures, and that became a whole other battle that we also didn't quite have time to fit into the film. But yeah, the recall definitely played a part in kind of the political shenanigans going on here.
Given that this is a pretty timely issue, probably for a lot of communities, what are you hoping will happen with the film?
we're really hoping that it can be a starting point. It's, by no means exhaustive, but we hope it's a kind of a spark for people to begin a dialogue about race, about equity, about economic development.
That was the voice of Garance Burke. With Monica Lam, you're listening to Full Circle here on KPFA 94.1 FM. They are the co-producers and co-directors of the film, The Rules of the Game. Coming up next, we're going to play a part of that documentary for you, and we're offering this documentary as a premium gift to you for a $60 pledge. Give us a call anytime at 848-5732 or 1-800-439-5732 in our Winter Fund Drive, so stay tuned.
I think the casino is a great deal. I think it's going to create us great jobs.
The majority of residents here vehemently oppose a casino in our city.
Over my dead body will this casino come to my town.
A Native American tribe is planning to build a casino in the small town of Rohnert Park, California. The plans have polarized the community, and so many people are coming to the city council meetings that there is now standing room only.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members and citizens of Rohnert Park. My name is Marie A. Esparza. I say no on the casino, which literally will be in our backyard. I will fight to protect my family to live in a family-oriented city, not a gambling town. I believe this project will be good for Rohnert Park as well as Sonoma County and other counties.
With the county, with the supervisors, we looked at 48 sites and narrowed it down to one, the present one, of which we are not leaving.
It all started in the year 2000 when Californians approved a law called Proposition 1A. It allows Native Americans to build major casinos on their reservations.
Prop 1A allows federally recognized California Indian tribes to continue gaming on their own tribal land.
It will allow us to continue our economic progress so we can provide better health care, housing, and education for our people.
I actually did vote for Proposition 1A because I wanted to do something to help the Indians.
Proposition 1A promised to balance the scales for Indian tribes who lost most of their land and live on small reservations. In a state where slot machines are otherwise illegal, California's Indian casinos have become so profitable they're catching up to Las Vegas. Dozens of tribes have plans to open casinos. Now a tribe called the Federated Indians of Grayton Rancheria want a casino of their own in Rohnert Park.
We don't live in a time where Indian people are going to be able to, gather acorns and, go back to these romantic notions that people have where we just live off of the land in some sort of harmonious abundancy.
My understanding of the proposition was that the casinos would be put on existing reservations and they would be living next to them. I didn't know that it meant that they could go into any place, buy the land, call it a reservation, and plunk down a casino.
Virtually everything you need for a quality life you will find in Rohnert Park.
We know who our neighbors are.
It's referred to as a friendly city.
This is where I live.
I've lived here since 1976. I moved up from San Francisco. It was part of the Back to the Land movement that, in the early 70s of people wanting to get out of urban environments. That area there on the other side of the 10 barn is supposed to be open space for the rest of our lives because it was designated as a community separator. But that's where they want to put the casino.
The casino project will fill this site with 2,000 slot machines, a spacious hotel and a spa, and a super-sized parking lot.
The area where they want to put the casino will be visible from my front yard. Walking out at 12 o'clock at night and hearing traffic, seeing searchlights in the sky, seeing neon lights, is a violation of my home. It's a violation of everything that I really value.
But we've only got 2 hours to do it.
Tell me.
So, what kind of rush?
What I did was I took every reason that people ever mentioned against the casino and sort of boiled it down to 1 or 2 words. They expect 15 to 20,000 cars to visit this casino. A lot of people think it's negative for families and family values, so I put that on there. Higher crime, strain on police, all of those are represented.
Yeah, I know in my backyard's like a 4-letter word, but that's how it feels. I just don't want it here. Yeah, I've been told, oh, you're a NIMBY. And I go, well, yeah, you're freaking right, I'm a NIMBY. Something wrong with that? I don't want a casino in my backyard any more than anybody else does, for that matter. Except for the Indians.
For over 3,000 years, the area around Rohnert Park was inhabited by the Coast Miwok, whose descendants now make up the Great and Rancheria tribe. Their ancestral territory once ranged from Bodega Bay to just north of San Francisco.
I think about how many generations and how many thousands of years my relatives had lived here. The fact is that every road that we drive on in Marin County or Sonoma County, every tree, every wave that breaks at the coast is where we call home. And we're not going to ever be able to acquire that back again.
California was as far west as American settlers could go, but settling here meant driving out the people who had lived here for centuries. In the mid-1800s, some sheriffs offered $5 for every Indian scalp a man could bring in. By 1920, the Indian population in California was 1/10 of its original size.
Congress decided that they needed to do something about these homeless Indians. And I don't believe necessarily because they cared about us, but because more people were coming into the territories of California, and they wanted these Indians off their land, and what are you going to do with them? They didn't even call us by tribe. They created what they called rancherias or reservations for the homeless Indians of California. They just called us homeless Indians.
The Coast Miwok people were driven slowly from their land that they've known and lived on because the white people, or what do you call them, non-natives, they didn't say it, but they felt it's probably too valuable for Indians to have.
We went there and we lived there, and de facto we were made a sovereign nation. The Indians of the Great Rancheria became a tribe.
I remember the rancheria looking beautiful and wild. A lot of plants, flowers, a lot of animals, lots of birds, just more birds than you can imagine.
By 1960, Congress decided to dissolve dozens of California's Indian tribes, including the Indians of Great and Rancheria. Appraisers came out, assessed the value of their reservation, and sold off the land as private property, in some cases to the Indians themselves. In one move, the Great and Rancheria tribe lost both their land and their status as a sovereign nation. At the same time, development in Rohnert Park was just getting going.
A lot of people feel that Rohnert Park is already developed. That's true, but to those of us who live here and will actually live with the consequences of it, that open space is all we have.
I would say 20 years ago, you couldn't find Rohnert Park on the map. And, if it was Indian territory, if this was all supposedly it's supposed to be Indian territory, why hadn't we heard about this?
I thought that we were Spaniard and Mexican and Irish, because my grandfather's Irish. I didn't know I was Coast Miwok until my 30s. I was 32 when my grandmother said that. Yes, we're Indian. She goes, but I'm ashamed to admit it. She said, that's why I married your grandfather, because he was white, and I figured if my kids were part white, they'd be better off in the world like that.
In the year 2000, the tribe took action. Using detailed family trees, members proved their native heritage to show that the tribe was still here. An act of Congress restored the tribe's official status and gave them the right to buy land for a new reservation. The same year, Proposition 1A gave them the right to open a casino.
We did not want to go the casino route originally. Unfortunately, we have over 1,000 enrolled members, 50% of whom are below the poverty level, 50% of whom have diabetes. But the biggest thing this will enable our people, particularly our young people, is something that economic wealth or solvency always guarantees anybody, and that is options in a free world.
I knew right when I heard casino we were going to be in for a battle, because it's not going to let you put up a casino. Not that easy. I'm looking at it like, yeah, let's do this, just to show them people we could do this, and they can't tell us no anymore. That's how I feel about it.
The tribe can buy any available land within their ancestral territory. They found land for sale less than 20 miles from the old reservation. Station Casinos, a Las Vegas company, is lending the tribe millions of dollars to buy the property and build the casino right next to a mobile home park and a dairy farm.
Ready?
Ready. Ready?
Paso doble, te quiero.
I'm dressing up to be Superman or something.
On KPFA 94.1 FM. You just listened to part of the documentary, The Rules of the Game. We want to remind you that this documentary is being offered as a premium, and you can call us at 848-5732 or 1-800-439-5732.
I am Veronica Moscoso, and Kristen Zimmerman is here in the studio with me, and we are continuing our conversation with Garance Burke and Monica Lam, the directors and producers of The Rules of the Game that we were just listening. So, the documentary was produced 4 months ago. What is the situation right now with the casino at Ronet Park?
Well, at this point, the situation is that Sonoma County officials asked the governor to delay negotiating with the tribe until a traffic report can be done to see how exactly this big building would affect traffic on Highway 101 and surrounding areas. So, as far as we know, negotiations are continuing, but it's actually dropped out of the news a little bit in the past couple months. That said, there's still a lot of energy behind the casino project, and people in the town are very much still thinking a lot about this in their daily lives.
There's a lot of steps involved between proposing to build a casino and then actually getting it built. And one of the major steps is that the governor needs to strike a deal with the tribe. It's called a compact, about just how big the casino will be. And the land that the tribe has purchased also needs to be turned into a reservation. So there are a lot of steps involved. These steps might take a couple years to play themselves out. And meanwhile, the people who live in the town who oppose the casino are still very, very active. They're trying to continue to lobby the governor and lobby local and state level elected officials to do whatever they can to slow this project down.
So since we last talked, there were several pieces of legislation on the ballot last fall, and there are things playing out at the state level. Has that affected Rohnert Park at all, or not really?
Both of the propositions that were on the ballot in November did not pass. Right. So the state of law has changed.
The only thing that's coming up now is that there is a move in the Schwarzenegger administration to consider the town that we looked at, Rohnert Park, as a model for how cities and tribes should negotiate in the future. So I think that there will be a lot of attention being paid on the state level to how this portrait that we captured in the film goes forward.
And one of the hopes that you had when you produced the documentary was that it will help for dialogue. What had happened with that? Had it helped for dialogue? Have you presented the documentary in community forums?
Yes, we've been able to present the film in a lot of community forums, and it's been a great tool for generating dialogue. We presented it at a local high school here in Berkeley, at the Berkeley High School, and the students there got into a great discussion, really looking at the pros and the cons and looking at the very different viewpoints that come up in our film. We've screened the film at the American Indian Film Festival, and we've been getting requests from film festivals around the country and even from one in Canada to show our film there, because we've really tried to lay out the issue and lay out the story in a way that's educational.
And I think that, it is such a hard topic for people to figure out where they stand on, that just having, being able to kind of relate to the characters in the film and see this more on an emotional perspective and realize how it might impact you in your daily life, and think about those questions of, race and justice that are sort of embedded in the casino issue, makes it a good way for people to come into dialogue with each other. And so we're, really excited about getting it out into classrooms and continuing to show it in the community, because we always find that we learn from listening to our audience as well.
You just heard the voice of Garance Burke. I'm Kristen, here with Veronica. You're listening to Full Circle. You mentioned screening the documentary at Berkeley High, and in the local Bay Area we have casino projects in the works, Casino San Pablo and some other projects here. Have you had the opportunity to show the documentary locally, and first, can you give us an update on what's happening locally, and then have you had an opportunity to use your film in any way to help local communities think about maybe some of the same things that are in store for them?
Sure. Well, one of the things that we found is there's a section in the film where we go to Thunder Valley, which is a casino outside Sacramento, and you hear this kind of rising and falling of the sound of 2,000 slot machines. The guy who we interview there, Doug Elmitz, who does PR for the Auburn tribe that runs that casino, is working with the Lytton Band of Pomo Indians here on the San Pablo project. So it's a situation in which people involved in gambling on all sides of the issue really continue to show up, and now closer to here, KPFA listeners, you're sort of getting the film coming to you in a sense. So we're hoping to use the film also in community dialogues here about some of the contention surrounding the San Pablo project, the Richmond project. There are 3 major casinos that tribes are interested in building in this area. And as this heats up with more and more community forums and blogs on Representative Lonnie Hancock's website, we're really trying to see if the film can be of use as an educational tool in that process as well.
What about the people at Rohnert Park, and what about the tribe? Did they watch the documentary?
Yes, our film screened on the PBS station in Rohnert Park, and we've sent copies to everybody who's in the film, the mayor and the people who are opposing the casino, and as well to the tribe. One of the things that the mayor of Rohnert Park said to us when he took a look at the film was that it very much represented accurately what happened in the town of Rohnert Park, and the town was torn apart by this issue. And we thought that it was really great to hear, first of all, from the mayor of the town that we had done a good job in capturing the story and being accurate to it, and really kind of looking at all the different sort of subtleties and nuances in a very, very complicated issue. And we're hoping that people here in the Bay Area can also look at this film and look at the story of what happened to Rohnert Park, because it really is starting to happen in towns here, in San Pablo, in Richmond, and potentially in Oakland.
Where are those projects at, in their stages of development? Do you know?
Well, the Lytton Band of Pomo Indians has offered to give 25% of its gaming profits to the state and local governments. And right now, there are ongoing city hearings about this. The mayor in San Pablo is a big supporter. Lonnie Hancock, who's a state assemblywoman, is an opponent. And right now, the governor is trying to get Congress people to negotiate with the tribe. So it's sort of in that nebulous point of negotiations where no one's really quite sure.
For listeners here in the East Bay, it's definitely worth taking a drive over to the San Pablo Casino. It's a casino that exists already. Doesn't get a lot of attention. It's a small casino right off of the side of Highway 80, and it is currently owned and operated by the Lytton Band of Pomo Indians. What they want to do is expand it. They want to take what is right now a small, modest card club and turn it into a full-sized casino with 2,500 slot machines.
But basically, I think what we're seeing is the stakes are getting higher and higher for tribes, and this is becoming, an issue where tribes are becoming more and more generous with cities in an attempt to bring these deals forward. And so it's something to really pay attention to, because wherever it is that you fall on this debate, it is going to impact you. And, it's our hope that showing the film in local areas, also it's going to be in the Sacramento Film Festival coming up, will be a way that people can begin this dialogue.
Have you thought of doing a second documentary, like a follow-up from this one?
Would love to update this documentary when the casino begins getting built, when the trucks are out there digging holes and everything. For now, we're working on other projects, and we'll see where it goes.
One of the questions we get asked a lot is, well, are casinos really that bad, or are they really that good? And so one thing we could do is when this casino, if it opens, when it opens in Roanoke Park, we can go back up there and do a study on that.
Well, that sounds fascinating. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up right now. We need to, we're going to go back to another cut from Rules of the Game, and we are offering your documentary as a premium tonight on Full Circle. You can call in at 848-5732 or 1-800-439-5732. But I just want to thank you both for coming back into our studio. It's been wonderful to have you here the first time and now get an update on where things are. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And you've been listening to an interview with Garance Burke and Monica Lam, co-producers of Rules of the Game. Again, we're offering Rules of the Game as a premium tonight. We're going to go back to a cut from the film, but while we're playing it, feel free to call in at 1-800-439-5732 or 510-848-5732. We'll be right back.
Once the land becomes a reservation,
This is Full Circle on KPFA 94.1 FM. You just listened to...
Once the land becomes a reservation, it will be considered Indian country, exempt from all property tax and zoning regulations. That means the tribe can build a casino with or without the city's approval.
We're not legally required to, nor do we owe the non-Indian community anything. What this tribe wanted to do from day one was to create a model whereby the facility will benefit both the Indian and the non-Indian community alike. First of all, let's provide good jobs. Let's see if we can build it green. In lieu of taxes, which we're not required to pay, let's offer our local community revenue sharing.
The tribe is offering to give Roanoke Park a small portion of the casino's profits to soften the impact on the community. They're offering $200 million to hire police, widen roads, and prevent gambling addiction over the next 20 years.
There's been a tremendous amount of controversy.
And that was part of the documentary, The Rules of the Game. You're listening to Full Circle, and we are in our winter fun drive. We want to encourage you to call in and show your support and help KPFA keep going. Tonight, we are offering for a $60 pledge a copy of The Rules of the Game. Call us now at 510-848-5732, 510-848-5732, or 1-800-439-5732, 1-800-439-5732. And you can get this educational documentary that follows the complexity of the Indian gaming issue.
That's right, Veronica. For a $60 pledge, you can get this documentary. It's a DVD, 1-800-439-5732, 848-5732. I can still hear it in the background if Omar wants to bring it down. But, this documentary is very timely. the rules of the game is very timely because there is so much talk about opening casinos around the Bay Area. In San Pablo, as you heard, they talked about the proposed expansion of a casino there, and around the Bay and California. It's very relevant, it's very close to home, and it affects all of our communities. So please call now and get your copy. It's educational, it's good for schools, like Veronica said. 848-5732, 1-800-439-5732 for a $60 pledge. Can break down to $5 a month. And you can do it with our electronic funds transfer. It's fast and simple and safe. Once again, the phone numbers. Go to your phones now, folks. 1-800-439-5732, 848-5732, and the 5 and dime.
And also, if you're supporting Full Circle, you're supporting the apprenticeship program, you're supporting the work of apprentices because we all put together this show.
That's right. And we do actually have a match that the KPFA apprenticeship program put together in solidarity with Full Circle, because this is our show, this is your show, community show, because the apprenticeship program is a community program which teaches through affirmative action, radio, all sorts of, like, from editing to broadcasting, and we're the future of democratic radio. So we have a $400 match that we have to make before 8 o'clock rolls around when LaOnda comes through. So give us a call right now and show your support for us, for the show, and for KPFA and the Pacifica Network, which offers you hard-hitting programs each day with Hard Knock Radio coming through at 4. Today they had on The Last Poets. When have you heard them in the last, great interview. We have so many, like Africa Today on Monday evenings. Call us, 1-800-439-5732, 848-5732. Have to make this $400 match. Support programs like Apex Express, La Raza Chronicles, and Voice of the Middle East coming through. So once again, the number is 848-5732, 1-800-439-5732. We have one person on the line, and we want to see more. We have great phone volunteers helping us out in there, and we want to invite you to go to your phones now, 1-800-439-5732, 848-5732.
And remember that the apprenticeship program is a vital part of KPFA. It's a direct connection with the new voices.
William Walker and Omar are over there. 00, what you got for us?
Oh, man, I'm just here at Full Circle, you know what I mean, behind the board with you guys, and I'm just saying, you guys got to call us up, we need some more people to hit us up, Where is everybody from? Oakland, you know what I mean, out there, you guys, I know you guys get KPFA and you guys are listening. Yep. Where else do you get this kind of programming, you know what I mean?
We want to see the Fruitvale represent. We want to, the people who aren't subscribers yet and have been on, community organizations, support us now. This is the time to give back because we're here for you. Anytime that you want to come through, talk about your events, and also important community issues, which we're here to support and to, Anyway, I'll give the number out, 848-5732. 1-800-439-5732. I know William needs to say something.
510-848-5732. I need to say numbers because there's no one on the phones right now. And I really want our audience to really think about the type of programming that we try to bring to you each Friday. It's cultural affairs programming, it's public affairs, and it's music. It's not just that same talk. It's not the same 5 different issues that are covered a lot in other shows, but we really try to go to the communities. We take you to East Oakland. We take you to Fruitvale, like we've said. We will bring you straight out of Hunters Point and go out there and really cover the different issues that are going on in those communities. And we work with community organizations. We have community town hall series that happens quarterly where we bring in community organizations and we take an hour of our time here at KPFA to let community organizations reach out to you so you can find out what's going on in your neighborhood. And if listeners really truly support that, we'd like you to go to your phones right now and dial 510-848-5732 or 1-800-439-5732.
For a pledge of $60, you can get this very, very good documentary that through very personal stories shows the controversy of American Indian casinos. Can you imagine, if they open a casino in Oakland? I live in North Oakland. Do you live in the Bay Area? It is really important to get really deep of what this means for the community and also for the Indian tribes. 510-848-5732. 510-848-5732.
Let's talk about sovereignty. That's not an issue that you hear when you hear the discussion and the debate about casinos on the other stations. Let's talk about what it really means to bring forth, independent voices that are truly chronicling stories of our lives. I mean, let's be real. There's one person on the phone. 510-848-5732 or 1-800-439-5732. We're really trying to bring a perspective that's not heard. Thank you. That next person who's on the phone. 510-848-5732 or 1-800-439-5732.
And we do have a $400 match. That means that if you call now, we double our money. So please, thank you for that call as well. 1-800-439-5732, 510-848-5732. And I want to thank our food donors today, Udupi Palace, Arizmendi in Emeryville, Noah's Bagels Bake Shop. Thank you so much for supporting KPFA, and we want you to go to your phones now. 1-800-439-5732, 848-5732, and show us your support. We have to keep going with the, we need to pay our bills, basically, and that's why we come to you every year, a few times a year, to raise money, because we don't want to put commercials on. We're non-commercial, non-corporate funded. We really work hard here to bring you the grimy grassroots community radio, community events, and the pulse of the community, and that's why we're here. Once again, the phone number, 1-800-439-5732, 848-5732.
The rules of the game shows what happens when Indian tribes' dreams of economic development by building a casino clash with small-town values. And guess what? Right now, there are a couple of proposals for building casinos in the Bay Area. This is definitely an issue that is interesting to look at. Just for $60, just for a $60 pledge, you can have the rules of the game, which is also very educational. You can give it to teachers, to schools. You can have a discussion in your family, with your friends. It is really interesting. Just $60. The telephone numbers, 510-848-5732. 510-848-5732 or 1-800-439-5732. 1-800-439-5732. We need your support.
And you can also pledge online at www.kpfa.org, and you can still get this between the 7 and 8 hour. We have about almost 9 or 8 minutes left, and so we want to get at least 6 people on the phone before we leave. And I want to thank the person who's on the line now. Call now, 510-848-5732, 1-800-439-5732. I want to take this opportunity to thank some of our phone volunteers who are there waiting for your call. Larry Jarvis, Pat Grafe, Orcio Flores, and Renee Trejo from the Capoeira Mandinga group in Piedmont. Diane Mahoney, Max Blanchet, and Aaron Raven. And Jacqueline Johnson, thank you so much for coming through. And I hear Chooch over there in the studio for Launda getting ready, so please show your support. 1-800-439-5732. That's why we're here. Community is coming together. 848-5732.
We have 7 minutes, right? I actually want to push you one up and say 7 minutes, 7 people. And the reason why is 7 people at the $60 rate gives us about $420, and we have a $400 match right now. So, I mean, I'm trying to make this math work for us here. 7 people in 7 minutes. We've got one person on the phone at 510-848-5732. And let me tell you, the DVD is something you want to take home. That DVD really breaks down the casino issue, and we've heard clips of it this evening, and we really need to be equipped to discuss these issues from a level where we're not, alienating communities that are, our own communities. And I feel that a lot of times when you hear the discussion about Indian casinos in the mainstream media, you're hearing it from a perspective of, oh, my children, or I'm scared that different things are going to be brought into my neighborhoods. But we also want to talk about why, how different Indian communities are going to benefit from, being sovereign nations, and how those communities have been stepped upon over the ages. And that's something that you don't hear in the mainstream media. One person has joined us on the phone at 510-848-5732. And that $60 pledge can be broken down into installments. That's $5 a month. $5 for this media outlet here. It's free speech. It's about voices that you don't hear in media. I know my voice was a voice you didn't hear in the media.
Now we hear you all the time.
and I mean, it's not just about my voice. I mean, it's all about our community voices. And I definitely have communities that I'm accountable to, and that I want to bring in here with me. It's about bringing folks into the station also, and your donations help us to expand our training opportunities here at the station. It helps us to bring remote broadcasts into the community that talk about issues that are happening in our communities, in town hall meetings, and live remote broadcasts like the Power to the Peaceful that we bring you each year in San Francisco with Spearhead and a number of folks with Hard Knock Radio. So I mean, and it's not just about Full Circle, it's about all of the New World programs.
And actually,
here at the
William,
station.
I need to thank some people, as you mentioned, community here. I want to thank Susan Scott, who is called in, and Esther Manila, woohoo, and Jerry Lang and Jimmy Guy, Kristen Zimmerman, having a baby soon. Good luck. Happy baby. All right, Adalia, our very own Adalia, and Cheryl Terrence, Fred Jackson, Edmund Brassard. Thank you all for calling. 848-5732, 1-800-439-5732. And I just want to let folks know that pretty soon some folks from Hard Knock Radio and the apprenticeship program are going to New Orleans to bring you we're going to the conference. Women of Color Against Violence conference. And we're going to be bringing back a lot. We're going to be talking some hard-hitting women there and bringing back a lot of great tape and panel discussions for you listeners. So with your donation tonight, that will help us go there. 1-800-439-5732, 848-5732. These are the things that we need to support and keep the voice of community flowing. So
show us your support. We are trying to bring the best programming we can. And for only $60 pledge, that, as we said, is just like $5 a month, you can have the rules of the game, and you can really get deep and explore the issue of race, economic opportunity, all that you can discuss with the Indian gaming issue.
Once again, 1-800-439-5732, 848-5732. As you hear, we're slowly running out of time. We have a couple minutes left, though, because we're going to skip our little cart. Or should we skip the cart, William? Probably not. Anyway, I shouldn't ask you. 1-800-439-5732. Let's get 2 more callers on the line right now. Go to your phones. Dial 1-800-439-5732.
I want 3 on the phone.
848-5732.
I want 3 because we have 4. I want my 7.
All right,
I want my 7.
3 more. Come on,
3
you
more
can do
people
it.
on the phone. We can do that.
You can be the next person to call.
Maybe you don't have $60 right now. You can pledge $5.
Yeah,
it's
$5,
okay.
$25, $30, whatever
30,
you want.
$35, $40?
That's right. 1-800-439-5732, 848-5732, or online at www.kpfa.org.
We bring you all types of cutting-edge programming here on KPFA. It's not just about the programming we bring you here on Full Circle. I mean, we have daily news programs that bring you local.
Thank you for that call.
News. Oh, thank you for that call. 2 more callers. 50848.
2 more callers.
5732 or 1-800-439-5732. It's about our morning show. It's a 2-hour program that brings you live interviews from different community organizations doing things in our community to what's going on Capitol Hill to what's going on in Sacramento.
Thanks for that call, too.
We just need 1 more caller.
1 more call.
510.
1 more call.
848-5732. I wonder if we made that match. I'd love it if someone from the phone room could give us the golden thumbs to let us know we made that match so we can move over from La Onda.
I need to say something here, William.
Please.
I want to give a shout-out to Africa Today, which is on at Monday at 7 p.m., He's going to have a great hard-hitting show for you, so tune in, 7 p.m. Africa Today. I want to thank a few people here, Omar Flamenco, Double O, who's at our controls, William Walker, Kristen Zimmerman, and Samin for contributing tonight's show. Veronica's here with me, and I'm
Veronica and Ranjita both modest produced tonight's show. Yeah. So props to them.
We made our match, I think.
510-848-5732 or 1-800-439-5732. Show us you support free speech radio, independently produced radio, voices from your communities.
Thank you for your pledge. Thank you for your calls.
And we made our match. Yay! We can go
I can stop talking. Thanks, but keep calling. 510-848
5732
or 1-800-439
5732. You must know it by now. Peace.
All the deepest wounds of America are in the death penalty. Only poor people are selected